We're really super excited to have her be part of our group and be part of Women's Outdoor Connection and be with us in October. But also just to be spreading her good vibe about the outdoors. And so I'm going to let her take it from here as for a little bit to tell us about herself and her group and her goals and things like that. And we can just take it from there.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Saveria Tilden, as we just mentioned. I'm the CEO and founder of AdventurUs. And AdventurUs was born sort of from the belief that there's adventure in all of us. So we spell it kind of funny with us in the end. Because I personally was a late bloomer when it came to outdoor pursuits. I was athletic all my life, but not outdoorsy. And I found the outdoors in my late 30s, and haven't looked back. So
Mm.
just have kind of jumped in. I joke, I kind of cannonballed in, like, woohoo, let's do it. um, and yeah, and a long journey of, getting into the outdoors. Like I said, I've been athletic in triathlons and soccer and all that kind of stuff growing up
Yeah.
and as an adult, but found the outdoors kind of later in life and just changed my life, just being outdoors. I think the independence and confidence that comes with backpacking and being self-reliant and map and compass navigation and like doing all these things really changed my life and was really sort of a profound had a profound impact on me. I started teaching in the outdoors. So I started teaching with the Sierra Club. They have a wilderness travel course that they do down in the Los Angeles area. And then I also started teaching for REI Outdoor School.
Uh-huh.
So I like jumped in. My background is more traditionally more marketing and events.
Okay.
And so at some point, they all started meshing together with the outdoors and
Yeah.
events and marketing and all the things. And one of my parts of my journey is that I was fortunate enough to work on a outdoor series called Outessa, which was an REI all women's big kind of festival-ish type long weekend that they had.
Cool.
And it was like 300 or 400 women on a mountaintop at a ski resort doing all the outdoorsy things, and it was a very life-changing experience for me, both personally and professionally. And
Yeah.
when and I had like my dream job, I was like, this is like the best thing in the world. I was
Yeah.
working with the most amazing team of women and watching women just being inspired by other women outdoors. It was just
Yeah.
literally the dream. Um, and when they sunsetted that, I decided to start AdventurUs Women and start doing our own retreats. And we've gone from doing our adventure retreats, which are like our signature events that we do,
Uh,
that we keep doing their long weekends where women get to create their own schedule, come choose and to try all the different things. We have a whole Chinese menu of stuff that women can choose from. It's
mhm.
all women led, women guides. We provide all the gear. We stay at some cool outdoor place with cool beds and showers at night and catered meals, and so it's adventure and retreat.
A little bit
Um,
of a glam camping, just a touch, right?
Totally. Yeah, even nicer than glamping. So yeah, so it's definitely like retreat vibes, but also adventure vibes. So it's really
Sure.
fun. And then we branched into travel. So now we're starting a whole national park series next year,
Yeah.
traveling to national parks. And then also we do international travel for women as well, adventure travel.
Yeah, I saw that on the website. I clicked on, the trip thing, and I was just like,
Uh-huh.
okay, wait a second. Like,
Yeah.
but we'll get into that a little bit,
Yeah.
because I want to sort of know, like, for everyone, and we can even do it right now, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know, like, let's say you're going to Portugal. So Portugal is one of them,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What is that? What, like, if I was that person and I just got to the airport and like, what do you provide as far as, like, I mean, like, I'm just thinking, like, I'm a little anal retentive about packing. So I'm hoping you would, like, give people like a list of, like, oh, here's the essentials, like something like that, right?
Absolutely. So I think what I hear from our ladies, and and I know what we do. I think the thing that really sets us apart is we support you through the entire part of the journey.
Mm,
So once you sign up, we have pre-calls before each trip. We have packing lists, we have itineraries, we have accommodations, and we take care of everything so
yeah.
that you just need to show up with your bag packed and get to the airport and then you're good. And women a lot of times joke, they're like, I love your trips because I get there and I turn my brain off. Like you have everything
Yeah.
handled. We basically handle all the details. So And we find amazing women guides in the countries that we go to, or the retreats. Um, yeah, and there's an adventurous woman trip leader that goes with you on the trip, so you kind of have that continuity. So
Sure.
yeah, and you're usually traveling with like-minded women that also want to have some amazing adventure in a beautiful place.
Right.
So our goal is for our women to always have to be having a great adventure, but also a vacation, because that's
Yeah,
really
sure.
important. Because
Yeah, I think in
adventure,
this day and age, we don't really turn our brains off
yep,
enough. I mean, obviously, like we're all connected to that little thing that we use as a phone now, whereas,
yep,
back in the day that just didn't exist. So I think it's good to have people that can sort of push you in that direction. And
yep,
truly the outdoors does that. When you don't
yep,
have a cell connection, sometimes people panic, but
yeah,
like it's actually quite freeing,
yeah.
to not be able to contact the outside world as much. I know I actually had to send a text message this morning to someone. It said, "Can you please take me off this group string? Like I just
I
unless
can't.
it's something imperative, like, and it has, of course, it's not a group string with friends.
Yeah.
It's something else, trust me. But yeah, so I think that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So what would you say is one of your very favorite outdoor passions? I know there's lots of things you're doing, but what would you say was one of the things that really lights your fire?
So I would say personally, like if I'm going out adventuring on my own, I love stand-up paddleboarding. Give me a good flat water lake with my
Yeah,
stand-up paddleboard and my dog, and I am like happy, happy, happy.
yeah,
I also love hiking. I just love being in the woods.
yeah,
Like I just really, really love being in the mountains. So I think those are my two personal, like if I'm going to go outdoor on my own, those are my two favorites right now. And it's
yeah.
changed over the years. I
Sure.
was huge into rock climbing for a while, and I liked to mountain bike, and you know, but I think as lately it's been more stand-up paddleboarding and hiking.
Yeah,
Um, I would say as far as lighting me up, honestly, this work that I do, my business, it's like literally my heart's work. Like
yeah,
I feel so grateful and so much gratitude for being able to create these experiences for women and getting to meet these amazing women who come on our trips and just learn about their stories and just adventure with them and share the trail with them and get to know them. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, that's really great. You can see it on your face. I mean, really, like that's really cool. Like
yeah,
you can always see joy, and that and
yeah,
honestly, once you find that, once you get bitten by it, I'm getting like goosebumps. I mean, like once you find it, like
yeah,
you don't ever want to let it go.
yeah,
It's like that they call it a natural high, and some people don't. Some people are like, oh yeah, natural high, whatever. But no, it really truly is.
yeah,
I feel that way a lot of times when I'm on the mountain and my skis are sort of dangling on the side and I'm like, oh gosh, like gosh darn it, like what have I done here? But there's only one way down, so
yeah.
point the skis and just go, right?
No,
So on the trips, like how many women would be on a typical trip?
yeah. So we're all small. Most of our trips are small groups. So maybe 10 to 12 is our
Okay.
average size. So our international travel is usually around 10 to 12.
Okay.
We have a couple trips that are a little bit bigger. Our Canadian Rockies trip, we can do up to 22. And so we have like two bands. We're able to support up to 22 on that trip. And then our adventure retreats are more like 25 to 30, but the
Mm.
class sizes are 8 to 10. So
Okay.
it's this really awesome combination of your learning and like a nice small group environment,
Yeah.
the smaller group, but then you have the fun and like the meals and social hours and everything with the bigger group of women. Then you
Sure.
really get to know a whole bunch of people at those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the moments on the trip, and I'm sure there's many, that really surprised you, that like you sat back like you just sat back and it surprised you? What would you say?
I would say, I don't know, I'm going to say it doesn't surprise me. I think it surprises other people.
Mm.
My favorite is when women surprise themselves.
Mm.
So when they come into something with the challenge, with the fear, with the self-doubt of like, I don't think I can rock climb, or I don't think like I can't do this hike, it's too hard, and yet they get there. And so
Yeah.
being I think for me, the most surprising and fun part is seeing women really succeed and do things that they didn't think that was possible, that they were capable of, and just seeing that feeling of accomplishment
Yeah.
of like, oh my God, I did this. Like, so I think it's always a good surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, has there been any clients that like really challenged you to get to that point? I know the answer is probably yes, but
Yeah, I mean, we've been super lucky. I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely people like, because we have women who come with all different levels of experience and do all different, to do the different activities. Um, and I think it's not challenging me, it's challenging themselves,
Mhm.
and I think really, I think sometimes just having somebody there alongside with them, just encouraging them, letting them know like they can do it. And you know what? And it is hard. Like I think people like things get hard and you get this frustration of it seems easy for somebody else. It's so hard for me. I don't think I can do it. And it's like one, you can totally do it. And two, like, yeah, validating this is hard. This
Yeah,
is really effing hard. Like,
yeah,
I just did the Tour de Mont Blanc with, 10 women. It's hard. Like that's a
yeah.
big trip. Like, you're going up and over mountain passes. And so um I think that sort of validating that, yeah, things can be hard. And yes, you can also do them.
Do you find, and I'm sure you've done these things, these adventures with men, and no offense to the boys, but I mean, really, no offense to the boys. I mean, I like boys,
Yeah.
but like, have you found there's a huge difference when you're in a group of women on how the women respond?
So I would say yes, because people always ask, like, is it better? And I'm like, it's not better, it's just different. It's bad. But I think the biggest difference is I don't like I said, it's just different. What I've found, because when I was teaching for REI, I taught co-ed classes all the time. And
Mhm.
then we started doing women's only classes.
Yeah.
And the women's classes honestly were always just more fun. Like
Mhm.
there was just like a vulnerability that comes out. There's
Mhm.
like a camaraderie and support and laughter and like yeah, they just were always more fun.
Mhm.
Um, and for our trips, are all of our trips are all women. That being said, we just did our first plus one trip, and we did a trip
Okay.
to South Africa. We had an alumni were allowed to bring a husband or a brother or a spouse. And we had two of our
Sure.
alumni bring their husband.
They had
And
a
we had
background check though, right? I mean, like,
well, I mean, the background check is that the women were alumni, so I was
I'm
like,
just
all
kidding.
right, bring, bring, well, bring your men, and we had so much fun, and it was
Yeah.
really interesting. So we had an amazing time. The two husbands that came were fantastic. And for me, it was really special to see these women that I've gotten to know on a number of our trips be on one of the trips with their husband.
Sure.
And get to see their partner in life. Cause like, we
Yeah.
just see them when they're with their friend or if they're coming on our trips. So it actually was an amazing experience to
Yeah.
actually get to see them with their partners, get to know their partners, and their husbands were like, "Oh, we get it, we get why you travel with AdventurUs. It's very like this
Yeah.
is awesome."
Yeah.
So it was
Right? They're a
good.
little jealous, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
What
Well, they were
they're
like,
putting
okay,
they're
so
putting on wigs, and like
yeah, no, they're just making sure that we do more plus one trips in the future.
so yeah, no, and I think that's great. I think we shouldn't, I mean, as a skier and an outdoors person and a hiker and stuff, you know, as a woman in any outdoor industry, and actually any sport, you have to be able to sort of hang with the guys in a way because and I've found for myself personally, I'm 5'11", I'm not a small person. My dad said I was normal size, but he was a 6'6" linebacker size person, but like I always found that in a lot of ways I was more comfortable sometimes with the guys because I didn't fit the mold of what a
Yeah,
female was supposed to be when I was growing up, and for example, I skated, but now I have a friend whose granddaughter is playing hockey. That option wasn't there. I would
yeah,
have totally checked people. Like,
yeah,
so when, like it's changing, which I think is good, but being inclusive of everyone, I think is really important as well. And that's really a lot about what the outdoors is about, like
yeah,
it is about like seeing how nature does it, how and responding to it. So I love that you're doing that.
yeah.
Um, what would you say for yourself, like, is some of the most frustrating moments you've had, like, as you've grown your business and have you ran into any obstacles, or is it just a joyride the whole way?
I mean, so there was that small hiccup with a thing called COVID. So I launched
Yeah.
my company in the fall of 2019. So group
Yeah.
travel destination based business.
Uh,
Uh, the fall before a pandemic. So that was definitely hard.
yeah.
Um, I think, as a solopreneur, I think it's always challenging. Like this is my first time having my own business. So I mean, there's just challenge, there's learning and challenges that come along with that of learning how to run your own business, growing your business, all the things. I still, I have amazing women surrounding me that are, help me part time and like in different areas, but it's still pretty much just me, which is always difficult because I think the hardest thing is I feel like, on any given day, there's 10 things I need to be doing and I might get to two of them. And so you're always kind of feeling like you're failing, even though
Sure.
you're moving things forward. So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges of having my own business. Um, but we're working on that and, and we're growing and like our trips are selling out and it's so like the growth, so like the busy problem, like it's a great problem to have,
Yeah, right. When you're
you
sort
know?
like when you're driving the car and the wheels are like sort of
Yeah.
almost falling off, but they're still staying on, but
Yeah.
they're sort of falling off. It's interesting you talk about the list of things to do. That's why the younger people I work with in my multiple jobs, they always kind of make fun of me because I'm always handwriting all my to-do lists. I'm
Yeah.
like, there is a lot of satisfaction in just checking
Check
that
it off.
stuff off like this and then taking the to-do list eventually and crumpling it up and
Yeah.
throwing it away. Um,
Do you
so
ever add things? Wait, question. Do you ever add
yeah,
things to your to-do list just so you can check them off?
yes, because I did it, but I didn't write it down. Oh,
Totally. Totally.
100%. Yeah. Like, and
Same.
I'm a post-it note gal too, like you go into my house and well, especially as I get older, it's like,
Yep.
shoot, I hardly remember to tie my shoes half the time.
Yeah, no,
So
I have a wall of post-it notes,
yeah,
so
but
I
I
can
think that's
appreciate that.
good, and there's been, I think one of the things, especially if you're planning trips, I do love Excel sheets for planning trips and stuff because I'm able to like put all the accommodations in and
Yep.
like I do group trips with friends and stuff. And
Yep.
so then Google Sheets is my dream, the fact that I can share it with them that way and
Yeah.
they can make changes such and such, but whatever. So, what would you say, there are two people in your life, it doesn't even have to be two. It could even be one. It could be six. That really made a huge impact on where you are now.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think, somebody who's inspired me my whole life is my mom, just because
Mm,
um she's this wicked combination of like super sweet and kind, but also really smart, and also a little bit of like the penguins from Madagascar, like cute and cuddly, folks, cute and cuddly, but like also like, there's like a lot going on there. Um, and so she's just always inspired me to be like to lead with kindness and with heart and to just be a genuinely good human, but also be good at what you do and be have integrity and work hard and work ethic and all that kind of stuff. So
no.
I think she probably is the one who inspires me the most.
Oh, we're gonna
Yeah,
have to we'll have to clip that one out and
yeah.
send it along to mom for sure. Give her
Maybe
some
maybe I'll
credit.
maybe I'll bring her. Maybe I'll bring her to the to
You
the
should.
to the event.
You 100% should bring her. So what would you say currently today is most inspiring you as a person?
Oh my gosh, this work, my job, the women that I meet, just seeing women pushing themselves out of their comfort zones and like going on these adventures and connecting with other women. Yeah, I mean, I feel so fortunate because I so deeply love what I do and love the people that I meet, and it's inspires me every day.
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah,
So far, what's your most favorite location that you've traveled to?
Lord, it's like asking me who's my favorite child, and I don't even have any children. Um,
But you have a dog. So,
yeah, I do
yeah.
have a dog. I do
Yeah.
have a dog. I would say it's hard. There's something magical about South Africa, and it's funny because it's probably the least adventurous of our trips, and that like you don't really we're not doing any hiking, like it's not like a adventure trip. But just being there is such an adventure, and the animals, and just
Yeah.
experiencing something so different. So I think that definitely holds a special place in my heart. I have to say, Bend, which is our where we have our signature retreat, it's where we had our first event and I moved here 2 years ago. Like, I mean, I did our first event here in 2019 and was, like, someday I need to live here. Like, I need to figure out
Yeah.
how to get back here. Um, and, you know, it's just, it's such a Yeah, I love Bend. It has everything. It has the high desert, it has the mountains, it has lakes, rivers, forests, snow, all the
Yeah.
seasons.
And
You
it's
can
all
literally
so
do every
close within
activity.
each other. Like
Hmm.
so we were talking before we started the call, everybody, that my parents had a house in Bend, but one of the things I really loved about it was the fact that I could be on the mountain and ski most of the day, get
Yep.
done skiing like, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It'd still be sunny out. And
Yep.
then I could go and like grab my kayak, which was probably on my car, and then hop into one of the
Yep.
locations where I could just sort of float around and do stuff. It's like it really has a lot of everything, but nobody should move there. No,
Yeah.
no.
I know. I know. Shh.
No. So, can you, this might be hard because, well, maybe, but can you tell me your earliest memory outdoors?
Um, my early, I mean, aside from like backyard stuff. So the funny thing is, so I was born and raised in Hollywood till I was like 10 or 11. So like very urban city, like no outdoors. And then we moved to Washington State when I was 10. And I can remember, like we want to go camping. And my mom was like, absolutely. Like, because we like moved to the woods and we had moved,
Yeah.
to live in this like outdoor wild place. And my mom bought us, like our sleeping bags and our tents and put us in the backyard. It was like, have a good time. So like my early like outdoor memories are just moving to some place where we were kind of free range kids.
Yeah.
Summertime, it's like, be home before dark, which was 10 o'clock
Right.
in the Northwest, like eat dinner, you go out all night. And we were just sort of like, crawling through gullies and woods and exploring. And
Having fern fights was what we used to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
yeah, we had cow patty fights because
Yeah, well,
there's a whole cow pasture next door. So, but a little more
I might go
aggressive.
find some of those right now and throw them at my
Yeah,
brothers.
yeah, totally. So
So,
yeah, yeah.
speaking of Washington, so,
Hmm.
you know, um, heard, I was listening to one of the podcasts that you've done, and you were talking about Mount Rainier and
Yeah,
Mount Tahoma.
yeah.
So, why don't you give us a little taste of that
Ooh.
situation?
Yeah, so that actually is probably that climbing Mount Rainier, Mount Tahoma is probably the like sort of the instigator to all my outdoorsy because I was working in a marketing company at the time that did work with state parks around the US. So I was sort of working in the outdoor industry, but I was doing triathlons and a coworker was like, we should climb Mount Rainier. And I was like, what do you mean climb Mount Rainier? He's like, you'll be fine. You do Ironman triathlons, you'll be fine. Let's climb Mount Rainier. We should do it next year. I was like, okay, let's climb Mount Rainier. Um, having no idea, like having never like barely hiked, like not doing anything outdoorsy whatsoever. And that same friend and coworker took me on a snowshoe, like my first time snowshoeing. And it was this magical, beautiful, stunning experience. And I was like, oh my gosh, if anything happened to him, I would die. Like I know nothing. And it
Yeah,
really kind of put into perspective like how little I knew.
sure.
So I took that wilderness travel course, the Sierra Club wilderness travel course, to get to learn about the outdoors and
Yeah,
to learn learn. I literally knew nothing, like layering and how to, and that
sure.
class took you through map and compass navigation and hiking and rock scrambling. And then I took a couple other like kind of snow specific courses before I did Rainier. Um, yeah, and so Mount Rainier was like my first big like mountain hike adventure. And it was um, at that point I had done two Ironmans already and it was still the hardest thing I'd ever done.
Yeah.
Um, I think just it was mentally challenging, it was physically challenging. I learned so much on it. I went with great friends, which was really, really helpful.
Mhm.
Um, but it was special because it was definitely my first mountain. And also I'd grown up in Washington, so she was my mountain.
Yeah.
Like you just everyone knows there's no place more beautiful than Seattle on a sunny day with
Yep.
the mountain in the background
Well,
and
the mountain's
Puget
out.
Sound. Yeah, the
It's
mountain's out.
like,
Like,
yeah, the mountain's out. Like, and
yeah,
I remember saying that to people on the East Coast, and they were like, "What do you mean? Like, the mountain's always there." And I'm like, "No, trust me."
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, no,
And they took me up skiing, like in upstate New York, but not to any like it was like just like a two chairlift, barely a
yeah,
chairlift, and it's like a little. I was like, that is not a ski area. That's a hill. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like, we have neighborhoods in Seattle that are that
Yeah.
tall. So,
Yeah.
and actually, your little story that on the podcast reminded me to think of. I called my brother today, and I was asking him. I said, "So, what year did Grandpa hike? You know, like, what year did he get to the top of Mount Rainier?" And he's like, "Well, it was 100 years ago." And
Oh,
so it was
wow.
1924, and we have the record of him signing into the ranger station with my uncle Willis, his brother, and
Uh-huh.
my great uncle Willis, I guess it would be. And they were in their army gear with ice
Wow.
picks and like the helmets, right?
Yeah.
And I guess they started kind of late, and so the ranger was a little worried about him and like didn't think they should even be going. And somehow, if you knew my grandfather, he was able to convince people to do almost anything. And
Yeah.
so they got up there, but they were really late. I guess my grandpa was super sick, and I'd forgotten the story until today. And as far as the sickness part, so in order to get down really fast, they sat on their helmets
Oh my
and
gosh.
slid down most of the way, or part of the
Oh
way,
my
or
gosh.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And there's photographs that like prove that, which it's kind of funny, but it is a beautiful place to live for sure, Seattle. But
Yeah.
so, what is the couple things or one thing that you want people to know about Adventure Us?
Adventurous.
Adventure Us. And, what are you most excited for in this coming year?
Yeah. So I would say, gosh, if there, I don't know if there's one thing. I think we have a ton of fun. And so like if you just want to be joyful in the outdoors,
Yeah.
and I said, and again, if you want to have an adventure that is also a vacation, because a lot of our trips that we do, like people, you can plan the trip on your by yourself, but like the ability to have somebody else do it for you so that you just get to show up and really be present in the experience, I think is something that's really special. And
Yeah.
so I think, and this, the amount of support that you get doing the adventure thing. So I think if you're adventure curious, or if you're maybe not so sure, like if you're nervous about doing something like going to another country or going to the national parks or just doing the adventures in general, I would say don't be nervous, come to us, we got you.
Yeah.
Like we
I love that.
we just we love I personally like love people who are a little nervous and like, oh, I don't know about things, because
Yeah.
we got you. We're gonna have fun. You're gonna do the things. Um, and you're gonna meet other amazing women. Like hands down, the women who join us are phenomenal. And they come from all backgrounds and all walks of life. And we have 20s to 70s. I mean, it's just like it's amazing. And we all get to learn from each other and yeah, have community.
Have
I think
you done like a little test to see how many different states or parts of the world people have come from in order to come to you?
yes. So I don't know off the top of my head, but right now I think we have over 30 states. So people travel from all over the country to come to
Yeah.
our events. And this year we had somebody from um Ireland join us. We had somebody from Canada join us. So we had our first two international folks join us this year.
You're world famous.
I
That's awesome.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you know what? Saveria, I'm so happy that you've been with us, and I really appreciate your time. I'm so excited to see you October 26th. Don't be surprised if I give you a huge hug.
I know
And
I'm a hugger. Right back at
um,
you.
the Women's Outdoor Connection is really, really thrilled for you to be part of it. And we're really so happy to be promoting you and all that you do and how you're lifting up people and giving them joy for the
Thanks.
outdoors. And so we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do some rapid fires.